Greetings all. We'll give it a few minutes. Perhaps while we are waiting for the witching hour to appear, could you do me a favor? And I think you might have found the chat box already. Go ahead and write in the chat box and let me know if this is the first class that you are having at the Fachhochschule for the master's program. If you could let me know that in the chat box, I would be very appreciative. Okay, let's try one more time. Perhaps if you can go ahead and use the chat box, which is down here, and let me know if this is the first class that you are having at the Fachhochschule for the master's program. Something tells me that there is some issue, perhaps. I see you're there. Okay, well, let's go ahead and move on. Can somebody go ahead and give me an indicator that you can hear me and see me okay? I see that you're out there. Because that part I can follow. But something is obviously wrong. Okay, I do see that you're there, and very possibly there are some issues with you going ahead and using the chat box. What I'm going to do is continue with this presentation today, and perhaps maybe we can work around it a little bit. The idea was that you can actually go ahead and share through the chat box, but there seems to be a problem because I tend to think that at least one of you would respond to the chat box. Another possibility would be to go ahead and join me on stage. You can go ahead and scan that QR code and be part of the presentation today if you so care. So let's go ahead and move on. Thinking there's another way that we can do this. I see that some of you are already on the mural board right now. Can anybody who's currently on the mural board give me a message in some fashion? Just make a posting on the mural board whether it's possible to go ahead and use the chat box on YouTube. Lisa, I see you moving. Anywhere. Hannah, I see you moving. In fact, let's go ahead and make this more interesting. I'm going to, Elsa, you're joining, great. And I'm going to change this, stop this one. We're going to move to the mural board, hold on. We can hear you and also write in the chat and see each other's comments. Now that is strange because I don't see anything at all. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong spot. No, it's at the chat box. Okay, let's try this another way. Let me go to the actual event. You are not completely guinea pigs. I've actually gone ahead and done MA1. Oh, you're all there. Yes, of course you are. I see you. All right. Fantastic. Well, then, you know what? Okay, to add insult to injury, folks, I lost the internet connection, so I am actually streaming via my mobile. as you might already know, I am currently not in Austria. I am on holidays in Croatia. And sometimes we are very dependent on the internet gods. And you could see in this example right now that I'm having to be ultra creative. The chat box is not working for some strange reason on StreamYard, but I see that you're able to make postings, and that's great. And so that means I can actually go ahead and follow what's taking place. Okay, good. Let me go ahead and continue with the presentation. And let's get started with a description of the course. And I see that some of you are joining me here, but unfortunately I see Victoria, you're trying, and the camera is not added. With Jan, same story, and for Eric, the same. So if you can go ahead and add your video screen, then I can go ahead and bring you on the stage. So let me go ahead and continue with what this course is about. Now, what I think is really funny is that we have you go ahead and perform exercises with the intention of going ahead and putting together this master's thesis. But we'd only wait until the end to tell you how this works. And I think that's very, very strange. And so I've made the decision to concentrate primarily, and of course, part of the window just closed. So I'm a little bit in the dark here. So apologies for that. I see that Bettina's added with a picture. Greetings, Bettina. This is how you look. You look a little bit startled. I'll go ahead and remove you. No worries. That was not the intention. But I'll go ahead and bring you back for questions. That'd be fine. Yeah. Getting back to the story, I thought it was always quite strange that at the end of your studies, you are required to go ahead and provide the university with a master's thesis. But unfortunately, we only wait until the end to really tell you how this thing works. And I think that's way too late, especially considering that the thesis is the goal, that theoretically, everything that we work on should concentrate on getting you to the goal. So I decided last year, especially using the pandemic as an opportunity to go ahead and change the way that I do this course, apart from the e-learning, which I had already started a few years ago, but to concentrate in you going ahead and putting together a document that you would submit, in this particular case, as a group, so that you can have an opportunity, one, to try it out with little to no danger, because it would be me supervising you through this entire process. I will clearly not be as strenuous as the rules would be tied to the actual master's thesis, but it's a great opportunity for you to actually go ahead and get used to it. So I thought, considering that this is the goal, that we should go ahead and concentrate on the goal. So that's what I decided to do. Now, because things are so we all move to mural. I see at this, it's quite interesting. I'll try to follow the conversations that are taking place also in YouTube, because obviously, obviously that's was a bit of a time lapse. Let me go ahead and concentrate on this quote that was passed on to me by a gentleman by the name of Michael Pace, who is a professor at the Texas A&M. He had asked me to go ahead and participate as a guest lecturer at on his project management course that he offers there. And I thought this was quite interesting. This was part of his syllabus. So let me go ahead and summarize that. I don't need to go ahead and read the entire piece. I think you're capable of doing that. But he concentrates on this idea of ambiguity. So in other words, that things are not always that clear. And what I really liked about his description is that he says this depicts reality. That means that this is what you have to deal with primarily outside of the student world. I think, especially considering that some of you, if not all of you, are currently employed, then you already know that things are not always that clear. And it's important for all of you to get ready for this. Unfortunately, we don't do a very good job with education of getting you ready for ambiguity. We keep telling you that you need to go ahead and follow certain rules, whether the rules make any sense or not, that there's always a right or wrong answer. Very often, there are many right answers and there are many wrong answers. And it's not a very good way of getting anybody ready for anything. And so I really appreciated what Michael put together. You have access to this, so I'll let you go ahead and read this more in detail. I could only piggyback on that of what he puts here, that basically my job is to go ahead and help you. I looked at myself as being that being my main job. Certainly not to tell you what's right and wrong, because that brings absolutely no added value. And I personally believe that I can learn as much from you as you can learn from me. Now, you might not necessarily believe that, but it's true. Okay, let's move on. This is another thing that I think we don't do a very good job of within academia. And there was an interesting experience that I had this summer, and actually went to a live event, which of course was almost like an out-of-body experience, actually being with human beings for a change, instead of actually being in our cubicles talking to each other virtually. And one of the professors there, this was held by the Wirtschaftsuni, they said that the role of the university is to provide education. And I wasn't really quite happy with that comment. And I really came to the conclusion, no, our job is to bring critical thinkers into the world. And so let me give you a brief description when I use this phrase critical thinking, what I'm referring to. Critical thinking means that you do not swallow everything that's being told to you, that you raise questions as to the viability or the correctness, the objectivity of some of the statements that are being made, simply because if you are not able to get clear answers, then you really have to question to what degree the information has any value. You will notice later on, and this is something that, especially looking at my old age, I concentrate on a lot, that there are a lot of things that were told to me throughout the ages that were not very well thought through. We were trained to just kind of nod our head in agreement and say, yes, that's fine. But that doesn't help us in solving any of these problems that we have to solve today. So this is something that I would hope for all of you, especially considering that this is your inaugural, starting with the master's program, that at the end that you feel that you're critical thinkers. And with that, I can go ahead and say that I played a small role in going ahead and making that happen. And that would be something that I would very much enjoy. Okay, let's move on. And this is where we're going to have difficulties because of the chat box. And it's really a shame. It worked out very well with MA1, where I was able to go ahead and ask the question to everyone. So what the difference is between data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. But I'm going to go ahead and try, even with the delay, and see if I can go ahead and make this happen. We can actually go ahead and use the mural board. That might make it a little bit easier. Can you go ahead and put down somewhere in the mural box, and I can go ahead and let me change the screen, because we are being very agile here. And I'll move to the mural board. 1 second. Share screen, Chrome tab. There we go. Okay, leave it. I see you're moving around. That's great. Am I showing this properly? Yes, I am. Excellent. All right. So does anybody care to go ahead and explain to me the difference between, oh, I can even go ahead and write it on the mural board. Let's do it that way. Title, the data information, let me write this right, Tion. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. Okay, what I suggest for you to do is just use the Post-its on Mural and go ahead and put anything down next to that text that I just wrote on the mural. Oh, somebody's moving around. Right, proves to me, Lisa, that I always have to remember to go ahead and lock everything that I write down. So take a look at what I put down: data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. And please feel free to go ahead and write down via Post-it, and that would be with the right mouse key. You can go ahead and create a Post-it anywhere around that and state, what is the difference between data, information, knowledge, and wisdom? And I know it's a little bit difficult for this to appear properly within the actual live stream, but you all have access to the board, so that's good enough for us, I would say. So I see that you're busy putting down Post-its, and so maybe if you can go ahead and put some comments. Yep, so I see you're going ahead and working on it. And I can hear the delay too, because I'm listening to via the YouTube. In fact, I think what I might do is kill the YouTube here. Let me make this bigger for myself. Oops, see, this is the problem. I need to lock this. And help you along. Numbers. Data and information and external knowledge and information internal. Great. Let's see what else we have here. Information is structured data. Knowledge uses this information. You see you're still working out it. I'll let you do that. The difference is each a different status of connection of different information connected to experience. I'll give you a couple more minutes. I'll turn on the light. I like this, what Valentin is putting. Wisdom can't be collected like data. It is developed over time through experience. Yes, I'd agree with that. Can I give you a high five? Let me see if this works. Yeah. Okay, you know what? I'm going to give you my opinion, and you can tell me what you think, and just feel free. I think we're going to use the mural board primarily for communication. Yeah, so data is anything. It's something that's been collected that may or may not have any meaning. What we do is we take that data and we try to understand it. We collate it, we put it into categories, and with that, we have some sort of information that is valuable or not valuable. Knowledge is tied to analysis, in my opinion. So in other words, we have taken a look at the information, we've taken at various information, we've looked at conflicting information, and we've come to some sort of conclusion. And wisdom is something that I think only comes through time after you've been able to spend a lot of efforts trying different approaches, making a lot of mistakes, I think, and getting to the point of where you've truly mastered something. So for me, that would be tied to wisdom. And so one of the problems that I think we have here in the university is that we believe that information is what we are actually going ahead and conveying to all of you, which is bunk. It's complete BS. Information is something that you can actually go ahead and collect on the internet. So what added value do we actually go ahead and bring? Oh, I love that how you keep on continuing on the mural board. That's beautiful. Thank you very much for that. That's not added value. What I can promise you in this course, and if you feel that I'm lacking in this direction, please go ahead and challenge me, is that I believe that I want you to think, and I want you to be able to perform analysis, because that's something, regardless of whatever you do in your entire career, that's something that you take with you and you can apply for anything. And wisdom is again farther down the road, and wisdom is not always the gold at the end of the rainbow. I can tell you that. Sometimes when you feel that you've mastered something, it's time to move on. At least I have in numerous times. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue with what I was going to talk about here on my. And I wish I could do another split screen. That would be really cool. And let the mural board continue, and then I can try with my slides. Okay, I'm going to move back and forth. I'm going to move to my slides. You can tell we're just winging it here. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I am currently not in Austria, but I've been following the situation and understand that the COVID numbers are going up big time. I don't think anybody wants another lockdown, but I have to be prepared. This is my 4th semester where I'm dealing with the pandemic. It doesn't really bother me, as you can see, in spite of all kinds of technical problems. I'm kind of used to doing all this stuff online and quite enjoy it, and it gives us an opportunity to experiment like we just did with the mural board, especially when everything else seems to be falling apart, where I have to go to my mobile to get internet, where the chat box isn't working from YouTube, but we are able to keep things moving, which is very important. I will try this semester, regardless of whether we're getting together physically, which I'm very much hoping for, that I will hold the lectures rather, in a hybrid fashion. In other words, even if we're sitting together, what I want to do is stream them. And I think moving forward, we need to come up with proper solutions for hybrid. This is something I've been concentrating on for, I don't know how many years, certainly not over the last 2, but I would say since the 2004, 2005, working in a virtual realm, that we haven't been able to come up with any proper solutions for online and offline. So I'd like to go ahead and use this as an experiment. We'll see how well it goes. And then, of course, the mural board, well, we've just went ahead and jumped into mural. So you're familiar with that, and you're becoming more familiar with that. So that's very, very good. And basically, that's how it's going to move forward. As far as the e-learning is concerned, I don't have any statistics. There are some that haven't signed up yet, so I would ask you to go ahead and take a look at the mural board. What I did was I was able to come up with a universal access. There are 2 courses. For those of you who have already signed up, you're already aware of that. There are 2 courses. One is a business process management course, and the other one is a supply chain management course. Almost forgetting what I'm teaching here. That's a good start. And that those links will be valid until sometime on Saturday. So all I need you to do is just go ahead and make claim the courses, so I can make sure everybody's signed up. It doesn't mean that you have to start right away. If you want to and you see an opportunity to go ahead and move forward, please feel free. But that's something I would really very much like to get out of the way. So please go ahead. If you have not signed up for the e-learning, I would be very appreciative if you can get started with that. And there's something else that I need to talk to you about. I got a note from the Fachhochschule that I have to play COVID sheriff, meaning that I need to go ahead, if we have live classes, which we're all hoping for, to make sure that everybody is either been vaccinated or has been tested. We're following 3G, at least that's what the current state is. So to make things easier, I'm thinking the whole time, I don't want to have to ask you every time. You don't want me to ask you every time. If you already have vaccination, then go ahead and send me the document, and that means I will not bother you again. then you are scot-free for the entire semester. This probably doesn't apply to any of you. It's interesting. You might want to know for the Fachhochschule, for the lectors, they have a 1G rule, which was fine with me. I've had the vaccination for a long time, but they were making the claim that I will have to get a refresher because the vaccination will run out while we are going through this class. And I thought, oh, that's very interesting. And I said, so what am I supposed to do there? And they didn't answer that question. Since then, Mookstein has actually come out and said that they're valid for a year. And I don't think that should be a problem for any of you. But in any case, that's something that we can make very easy for ourselves. Just go ahead and send me a mail with the document, and then I will go ahead. I have a list that I've already put together, and I'll mark that I've received your document, and I promise you, let's make the emphasis here, I promise you I will not pester you anymore on this subject, okay? Let's continue. Yeah, I started talking about the assignment a little bit. Let me have that highlighted, so that's good. So the assignment is to be submitted in a written form where it should be clearly demonstrated which part came from which respective team member. And there's a reason why I do that. But let me finish the slide first, and then I'll go more into detail. The composite work must be seen as a complete work. In other words, it's not to be piecemeal. It should be looked at as being a group effort and will be partially graded as such. In addition, the project will be presented by the entire team in our last sessions. And this would be the breakdown on the grades for the project work as such. 40% for group components and 60% individual components. And there's a reason why I do all this, because I've learned through time that we always have individuals who, let's call them freeloaders, or they're not totally in line working, supporting the group. So I need to come up with vehicles to help the rest of the group that they can try to keep the others in line. In other words, if they don't concentrate on what they should be working on, at least I've given you something that you can use to feel that you're not getting shafted. what I've noticed is that some groups don't need that. And in fact, they come back to me and they say, we don't care. We want everybody to have the same grade. But at least I want to make sure that you have that vehicle. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. Yeah, this is one of the biggest problems I see with this project work, because I don't tell you what you should write about. That's something that you should figure out yourself. And part of the process is the actual journey, coming up not only with the subject matter, but defining what is doable. And one of the biggest problems that I run across is that you pick something that's way too big because you think the big is beautiful and big is better. And if big cannot be done, then big has no value. But of course, it's not always easy to go ahead and come to that conclusion. And here I have to be completely honest. This happens to me also. Sometimes I think, oh yeah, this is doable. And then I start digging into the weeds and looking at the material. And then I realize that it's not doable. I cannot do this on my own. This is way too big. I have to go ahead and make it smaller, smaller, smaller. So it's something that I can actually go ahead and complete. And so this will be part of the journey that we'll be performing together in seeing exactly what the scope is. And another point that is very, very important, that it should be thorough. Now, I know that for some of you, you're going to struggle with this because I'm not telling you what thorough is, because you need to go ahead and figure out what thorough is for yourself. And that's going to be part of the journey here too. Let's be honest. At the workplace, if you have jobs where they go ahead and say that all you need to do is this, then they don't really require you to use your brain. Now, I might be wrong here, but this is called executive leadership, meaning that at the end of these 2 years, that there should be some sort of expectation, certainly from your side, that you are leadership material. Leaders need to go ahead and be able to figure this out on their own. And of course, I see my job as helping you to be able to do that. And so I could only strongly suggest that you take advantage of this opportunity because you will never get penalized. I promise you this. You will never get penalized for me if you are not sure about something. Quite the opposite. That's normal. And I see my job is to help you along the ways. So for me, that is very, very important. And if you're not sure, you're supposed to check with me. Okay? Let's go ahead and move on. And then I'll go ahead and take a look at the mural board after I finish these slides and see if you have any questions, because I think that's going to be the only possibility we have today. Now, some of these components you will not know already because we're just getting started. But I needed to give you at least a benchmark so that you know what the absolute minimum is for this document that you're putting together. So starting on the BPM side, the business process management side, looking at process modeling, process analysis, process design, process performance management, process transformation, process organization, and enterprise process management. I can guarantee you this is all to be found within the e-learning. If you have any questions about the material, even when you're going through the e-learning, most of you already know how to reach me. And so now you even have a new vehicle, it's called Mural. Just go ahead and reach out to me, not a problem. If something's not clear, there's really only one solution, and that is to go ahead and ask. So let's move on to the next component. And this is coming from the supply chain management side. Push versus pull systems, supply chain management, segmentation, use of SKUs, ABC analysis or score model, application of the bullwhip effect, supply and demand scenarios, procurement strategy, role of manufacturing, transportation and logistics management. Now, this is all very, very open, and I do not discount the possibility that in the subject that you have that one or maybe more of these components are not talked about, or they're not to be covered because they're not relevant. That is fine if you go ahead and state within your document that because I'm going to make up something, if we're dealing with something that's tied to services and you don't actually have a physical product, then there's not going to be a stock keeping unit. So then it would be quite clear to state, due to the nature, I'm thinking off the top of my head, due to the nature of the subject that is the focus of this paper, there is no reference to SKUs because they are not relevant. I would strongly suggest, though, before you go ahead and put that in a document, that you go ahead and check with me, because very possibly I might come up with something that you hadn't thought of before. So, but on the one hand, it's important for you to realize, yes, if it's not applicable, you don't need to cover it within the document. That being said, I would go ahead and check it. Because I can remember from the last semester, there were some that made a lot of assumptions and they never validated that. They never felt the need to go ahead and validate their assumptions. And then they handed in their paper, they gave their presentation, and then I started asking questions directly tied to their document, saying, you make this comment, but what about this? I'll go ahead and give an example where it's something I could think of where this actually applies. And because they never bothered to check it, didn't look very good. So I beseech on you to go ahead, if you find some components that is to be found within this minimum that you're not sure whether it actually applies or not, the best solution is to go ahead and check with me, and I'll give you. I'm not trying to surprise anybody. I'm here to help you. I'm hoping that you can measure what you know today and what you know at the end, and you can say, "Hey, I learned a lot." That would be really cool. That would make me very, very happy. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is the absolute minimum. So don't feel that this is all you need to hand in, but I want to make sure that at least we have a benchmark of that. If it's not there, then that's not good. Because I get this question quite often, so what should we write about? And I just came up with a laundry list, and please do not feel that you have to do any of these subjects. But at least those are ones that I can think of all kinds of scenarios, being agriculture or foodstuffs, anything to do with food. Clothing is usually one that comes up quite often. Electronics would be one, following supply chain and business processes on electronics, or medicine, especially tied to COVID. I teach a bachelor's, and I followed a similar format last semester. And one of the groups did something on cold chain transportation, which I thought was vaccination, the actual serum transportation, which I thought was quite interesting. Energy, trade, manufacturing, it's totally up to you. And so I think the idea would be, the sooner you can start as a group to start thinking about what could you cover and checking with me, the better off you are. This is important, of course, timelines and milestones. Then I think I'll go to some questions and see if we could do this on the mural board. And these are, let me make sure I get this clear. These are non-negotiable. Read my lips, non-negotiable. The e-learning completion, which is 30% of your grade as a pass-fail, and the video submissions, which is 10%, are due by the 13th of November. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, man, I got so much time, 13th of November, I don't have to worry about any of this. And I say, more power to you if you feel that you can manage your time in such a way that no surprises ever come up in your entire life, and you can make sure that you can go ahead and cover that in a proper fashion, then be my guest. My personal take is anything I can get out of the way that doesn't require any long thought process is something that brings added value. And I think I need to spend a little bit more time talking about this video. So you'll be going through all kinds of material to be found within the e-learning. And what I want you to do, pick out anything, and it could be something completely minute or something that's related to something you found in the e-learning. I leave this completely up to you. And something that you thought was interesting, something you'd like to talk about, maybe something that you could relate to. I leave this to be as personal as you'd like it to be. There is no minimum, maximum time that the length of the video should be. But I found this to be, especially at a time of pandemic, it was one of the few opportunities that I had to get a little bit closer to you, because I put no limits on it. You could do whatever you want. So it ended up becoming, for some of the videos they put together were very personal, and I was very moved, and I was very glad that I had the students go ahead and perform that activities, because they clearly brought added value to me. Now, as far as the actual grading for, now you could see, you could add 30 plus 10 equals 40, and 60% is the actual project at the end. So you have the entire scope of how you will be graded for this course. So I'm already giving you 40% straight up. All you have to do is complete the e-learning and hand in a video. So you start off with a lot of momentum, but I need you to have that submitted to me by the 13th. I don't care how you want to submit it. There's some of the ways that it was submitted to me, either via WeTransfer or Google Docs, or it was small enough that it was an email attachment. I leave that completely to you. As far as the actual e-learning, one of the reasons why I moved everything to Udemy, I've tried with a couple different options, is that I can see exactly when you're done on Udemy. But it would be good for you to let me know, so I can go ahead and add a completed note to your name. So that would be the first part that we need to cover, the e-learning and the video submission. If you have any questions about this, I think after the slide, I'll try to go ahead and manage this via Mural. I need to know by the 13th also what is going to be your subject title. Why? And you don't have to wait until the 13th. You can actually go ahead and submit this much earlier. Why? Because I can tell very often from the title whether it's going to be too big or not. And so I will come back and say, are you sure that you can actually cover that? We have some natural constraints here. Time. You need to be done by December, and you're going to have other things to do, and there's only a certain amount of competency that you would have on the subject. So you don't want to make it too cumbersome. And so one of the reasons why I ask you for this information is because I can come back to you and say, that's way too big, or have you thought of this, and help you along the way. So as soon as you can go ahead and give me that information, the better off you are. You don't necessarily have to wait until the 13th of November, but I know already right now that a number of you will go ahead and do that, and that's okay as well. Because we are having two courses or two classes that are working on the same material, I take advantage of the opportunity of being able to have you both classes being said to provide feedback to each other. And so what I call is a cross-class review. What I'll do is we have 7 groups in both classes, and I'll go ahead and assign a class from MA1 to somebody on this side and vice versa, and just to go ahead and provide some feedback. Now, if indeed these deadlines are not reached, this is something I probably need to go ahead and enforce. Because I have no option, there will be penalties. In other words, if you do not hold to these deadlines, especially tied to the group work, then I will automatically deduct 10% from the grade if they're not completed. Now, these are tasks that can be completed. We all know that all you have to do is do them. So that in my mind, there's no excuse. And I'm telling you right now, and now we have it documented, also it's me as a video, that If you do not hold to these deadlines, then there'll be a demerit of 10% for the entire group for not completing these tasks. And then the actual project submission, that being the actual document, will be on the 14th. And then we'll talk about how we manage the presentations when we get a little bit closer. I think this will partially be dependent on whether we're physically getting together, as we all want that to happen. But we've learned over the last 2 years that there's nothing that we should totally count on, because very often our plans are managed by somebody else. So that's part of it. Very possibly some of you might even prefer to go ahead and manage that online. I'm pretty flexible if you wanted to go that route, but we can talk about that as a group. And so that would be it, tied to timelines and milestones. And we already got to the mural board. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back to mural, because I've been neglecting you all on the mural board, because unfortunately, as much as I've tried, I cannot manage these things concurrently. So if you want to go ahead and find a spot, maybe on the mural board, am I showing the board? Yes, I am. Okay, that's great. And if you have any questions that you'd like to go ahead and pose, because unfortunately we're having to be very, very creative here, because the chat box wasn't working on YouTube for some strange reason. You're all over there. So do you have any questions that you'd like to go ahead and highlight to me? And there's another option. I'll go ahead and do it here as well. Let me copy this. And if indeed you'd like to go ahead and join, okay, this didn't work either. So let me go ahead and put it on the mural board. Okay, as you can see here, somebody, yep, I'll lock it. There we go. If you want to go ahead and join, I think if you clicked, you should be able to go ahead and join me on the stage. Let's go ahead and give it a go. Any questions? So the options would be to write something on the mural board close to maybe that the StreamYard link. Let me try something else. Maybe if I add it as a posting. I'm not quite sure whether that link is going to work. Let's add a sticky note. And can I do this? I don't know if that one works as well. No, I should have locked it. Yep. Does that work as a link? Probably not. And I can't. Oh, I know why. Because I cannot lock that posting. That's interesting. Oh, okay. Victoria, I'll give you the first opportunity. What kind of questions would you like to go ahead and pose to me? You're on mute, hon. Yep, no, you're not.
I don't have any questions for now, so I'm quite happy.
Let me turn, maybe this problem, I don't have my hearing aid on, so I can't hear you. I don't know. I'm kidding. Good. Can you give another try, Victoria?
I don't have any questions for now, so I'm quite happy.
Okay, no, that's great. All right, well, if you have, I'm going to go ahead and take you off stage, because I see some others have tried to join you. But go ahead. I could see you. You could raise your hand, and I'd be more than happy to bring you back to the stage. Is that a deal? Okay, good. I see it. All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead. And I know I shocked you the last time, Bettina. That was not my intention. I apologize for that. So maybe we could make this one a little bit smoother. Did you have any questions you'd like to go ahead and pose at this time? Was everything clear that what I talked about? And you're on mute, by the way. You're shaking your head no. You can hear me. Can you hear me? Oh, didn't work. Okay. Okay, Lucas, in MA2, I see you're here, but I don't see your video. Okay, Bettina's making. Should we try one more time, Bettina? Does it work? Can you hear me?
I am having a huge
Oh, I
echo.
can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you double, I guess. It's on
Maybe because you're
StreamYard
following
and
on the YouTube. That could be the problem, that you're following me on YouTube.
yeah, when I close YouTube, I think it's better. So you only can join. Yeah, I'm just here to, I'm. It's new to me. I'm not experienced
No
on these
worries.
sessions, so
I very much appreciate that you gave it a try, and especially I apologize for putting you on the spot earlier today because I could see it that your look
no,
on your face.
no worries.
That was not the intention, but I think that this only goes ahead and proves is when things don't always work the way you want them to, and because I'm streaming from this thing, the chat in YouTube didn't work. We were able to come up with a ways for us to go ahead and communicate, and we use the mural board. So there are always ways to go ahead and make progress. And so for that, I'm very appreciative of all of you having to deal with all these technical hitches, and that you were willing, Bettina, to come back to the stage even after I went ahead and embarrassed you and put you on screen. I appreciate. Thank you very much for that.
No worries. I'm also learning things. Yeah, so I'm not familiar with StreamYard, but now I already know better how to do it than before. So thanks for the learning.
That's great. That's fantastic. And I see that we have. And this is part of the problem because this is way too small. I'm going to need to go back to the board. Okay, so questions. Yeah, all right. So about the video, sure, of course. Let me go ahead and explain. All right, sorry, no worries. So the idea is you go ahead and you make a video. Now you can make it on a computer, you can make it on the phone. I don't really care how you make it. You can make it as a PowerPoint presentation. You can go ahead and speak straight into the phone. I leave that completely to you. I leave it to you what the subject is, tied to, of course, the material to be found within this course, either being with the business process management or supply chain management. But I leave you a lot of flexibility. If you find something within the e-learning that really strikes your fancy and there's something you want to talk about, something burning that you really want to go ahead and talk about, feel empowered to go ahead and use that as the material for your video. Now, maybe it might be easiest to give you some of the examples I've gotten. I've had people put together storyboards, so they went ahead and filmed the storyboard. I had people just going ahead and talking on the phone. I had people doing PowerPoint presentations. I had some that have really gone out of their way to make it an extravaganza. I don't expect extravaganza. I think everything you do is going to be great. I'm firmly convinced everything you do is going to be great, but feel empowered to do it any way you like. And there's no length requirement. I think it's probably going to be more than 2 minutes, and I'm hoping it's not an hour and a half. But even if you decided you want to make it an hour and a half, that's your right. And I'm certainly not going to give you any demerits. And one other thing I can mention here, because I'm only speaking from previous experience. I love giving you feedback. I love giving you all feedback. But you have to realize there's only one of me. And I have a limitation just like all of you. There are only 7. Can you see it there? 7 in a week. And I have, I don't have 30 hours. I have 20 and 4. 24 a day, and 8 of them at least, sometimes maybe 9, is for sleeping. So I have some clear limitations. And so if you go ahead, and I'm not going to go back to this to the slide, but if you all go ahead and send me a video on the 13th of November, do you know what happens? My email box explodes. And that's not that, even that is not so bad. But I love giving you feedback. But if I get 70 videos all at once, then I'm not going to have any time to give feedback. So I beseech upon you to actually go ahead and send it to me a little bit earlier so I can go ahead and give you feedback, because I love telling you what I really enjoyed. And I think that feedback is something that we all need. I can tell you I need feedback. And so I don't think it's any difference for you. So I hope that helped. Try to bring a little bit of levity into everything. So there were some questions. Any other questions? Am I showing this properly? No, I need to go back here. So this is where I'm looking for your questions, what's being shown here. Any other questions? Anything you could think of in the meantime, Victoria, that you'd like to go ahead and ask? Nope. Okay, that's fine. I promise you, I'm not going to put you on the spot. Let me see if there's anything else. Okay, then we're going to do things different. Thank you for putting up with all these technical problems today. We were able to go ahead and get through it. And certainly if you have any questions, you come to me and ask. So that one's pretty simple. You got a chance to know me a little bit, because it's the way I am. What you see is what you get. And there's a video that I put on Moodle that tells you a little bit about me and what I've done so far. I do a bunch of different things, which you will hopefully find out about while we move forward together on this journey. I included my LinkedIn profile, so if you want to go ahead and take a look at that, please feel free to go ahead and reach out to me there. And I don't know what else to cover. Hey, Victoria, did I forget anything? What do you think? No? Okay. Victoria's already given me approval. She said that everything is working great. So thank you very much for that, Victoria. Yes, that's great. So with that, I can't think of anything else that I need to do apart from making this official. And let's see if I could do this. I wish this could go a bit quicker. That I want to thank you for your time. I look forward to this course. As you can tell, I'm intended to have a lot of fun with all of you, and I hope that you're looking forward to having some fun as well. And you don't have to wait until the 13th of November to go ahead and ask me questions. Oh, Victoria, sorry. Yes, of course. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Yes, please.
Regarding the group work, which groups do we have?
Oh yes, how can I even forget? Let's go back to the mural board. I was totally derailed by all these technical problems. I forgot to go ahead, and so I need to go back to the board. Hold on, let's go back here. Share Chrome, the board, and see. Nobody can tell you, Victoria, that you didn't bring any added value today, because had you not asked that question, that I probably would have forgotten. So let me move to that part of the board, because I have that all written down. Let's see how this appears. Let's check it on StreamYard. I can make this a little bit bigger. What do you think? Should I go ahead and do that? Is that better? What do you think, Victoria? Is that good? Is that okay? Yep. So these are the groups. And something else I need to mention that would be quite useful. And with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and go back to full screen. Makes it easier. So these are your groups. So go ahead and take note of who else is in your group. And you all have access to it. And I have one request for all of you. And sorry, I'm going to have to move out of this, but you have access to the board. And what I need for all of you to do, once you've gone ahead and got settled with your teams, and feel free to go ahead and use this time as an opportunity to go ahead and make that happen. I need you to go ahead and start creating a mural board for your group. And so that one's very easy. You see this button over on the left-hand side called Create Mural. In fact, I think when I go to our page, Let me see if I can go ahead and create it. And I can do share. Okay, I'm going to, Victoria, can you help me out here? Can you, whoops, sorry, let me go ahead here. Do you see on the mural board a button, just like what I showed you earlier, to create mural?
No, not really.
No? Okay, let me go ahead and show this again. Because I know that you have this. This is a functionality. And let me go back to my first page. So you get outside of the mural that I created, because now you have your own mural account. Do you see on the screen right now a button on the upper left-hand corner where it says Create Mural?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. And so what I would ask you all is, once you've gone ahead and coming up with your groups, and I'll go ahead and display that again, that you nominate one person from the group to go ahead and create that mural for your group. And the advantage of that is that you have a private space where only you and your group can actually go ahead and see the material. I would ask you all to give me access to that mural board, because otherwise I have no ability to actually go ahead and give you feedback. So that one would be very important. And feel free to go ahead and use this time if you'd like to go ahead and get started. That worked out pretty well with MA1 last Saturday, that the groups already started getting together. We can take advantage of the opportunity of us still being together right now if you have any questions, and then and take it from there. So I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity, Victoria, that you can play the dummy test with me one more time. Is there anything else I might have forgotten? Because it was quite clear. Had you not told me that, I would have forgotten. So I'm very appreciative. Anything else that you could think of?
Not for now.
Okay, good. Then we'll go ahead and see if there's anybody else. Let me go back to our group. And somebody's trying out the phone functionality, which I haven't done so far in Mural, so that was quite useful. I see that you're all looking at the groups. So I think with that, so what do you say, Victoria? Do we drop the mic? Yep. Okay, good. Then, all right. Thanks again for everybody. Thank you, my assistant, Victoria. I appreciate your help. And I will stick around and hang out on the mural board a little bit. And if you have any questions, then please feel free. And I apologize for all, that this is strange, private chat. Okay, Ismail mentioned questions, did he? Let me see. There's something else while we're at it. How long is the group project report supposed to be? Any specific guidelines on the outlines besides the topics need to be covered? I mentioned the minimum that's supposed to be covered. There is no minimum maximum, because you need to go ahead and define what's doable. That means if you come up with something that is, I hate to name numbers, because that means you're going to look at what that's about. There's some. No, I can't name numbers, because then you're going to think, oh, that's what we're going to be doing. I'd make sure that you come up with something that you are able to go into detail. My suggestion here would be to come up with a smaller subject, very, very small. Then when in doubt, make it smaller, and make sure it's covered. And the best thing is, once you get started, just go ahead and check with me. There was a submission about what your group subject is going to be. It's unfortunate here, because I don't know who actually asked the question, so I apologize that I'm not able to go ahead and direct it. When is reasonable to start with a group project? I had people from MA1 who started on Saturday. After everyone in the group has finished the e-learning, no, you don't have to wait. You definitely don't have to wait. Okay, so I don't need to have you put you on the spotlight anymore, Victoria. I relieve you of your duties. Any other questions? And I think, okay, Bettina, I think I did. Are you still there? Yeah. Can you tell me, did I answer Ismail's question? Because Bettina figured out how to use the private chat in StreamYard, which I think is pretty cool. I think questions are answered. Okay, great. Bettina, thank you very much for following up on that for me, because that was a big help. I would say if we need to go ahead and talk about other things, especially once you've gone ahead and come up with your group, the best thing would be to start brainstorming. And what I've done is if you've created a board and you've put some things together, if I have some ideas, I go ahead and start contributing immediately. So you'd be thinking I'm almost part of the team. So feel empowered to go ahead and get started with that now. And then it's pretty easy. Something else that I think I need to go ahead and share with you, and that would be, once you have gone ahead and created your board, you see this button here. Let me go ahead and highlight the button share. Then you can go ahead and let me click on that. So you could either include people, their email address, or you can send a link and make sure that you give me access to your board, and then I can go ahead and take a look. Let me see if there are any other questions. Okay, what do you think, Bettina? Are we good to go? I know there's always a bit of a delay here. Okay, I'm going to take too many tabs. Yes, I believe you me. I totally sympathize with that. But guess good to go. Well, that's good enough for me as well. So thanks all for sharing and assisting and keeping me honest, especially Victoria, keeping me honest today. I appreciate that very much. And I wish you a good start. And please feel free to go ahead and reach out to me anytime, and we'll just go ahead and make it happen. With that, I'm going to say goodbye. Greetings from Bol, Croatia. Bye.